All right, we live. What up, Face Bizzle? No, we on YouTizzle, YouTubesle, wherever we at. What up, social?
Medizzle.
Social medizzles. You know what I mean? Just getting it ready. Show starts in a couple of minutes.
All right, and then you can join me when you're ready.
All right. Boom, boom, boom. You already okay. Put some music on for us. In the background, should have made it play this.
Hello. All right, so today on Script Clubs presents Climax Theater, Joshua and I will be discussing restorative justice or
retributive justice.
So the link is in my bio. We're going live right now on YouTube. We're going to talk about sexual predators in the Black community. We're going to talk about healing. We're going to talk about the Lifetime docuseries that we've all seen. So meet us there, live, right here, right now. All right, we got Joshua Sarah jumping in the chat.
Let me holler real quick. Let me holler.
All right, boom.
Let me in there. Yo, let me see.
Waiting for Ethiopia to join.
Boom. Connect me. All right.
Connecting.
Yo.
All right.
Mine all blurry. Wait. There we go. So yeah, we about to have this conversation on YouTube Live. The link is in my bio. We talking about what everybody seems to be talking about in our community, the sexual predator situation. We ain't just talking about Robert the Pied Piper. I'm talking about period. The fact that this is like ongoing and rampant in our communities. We got a lot of blind eyes to it. We got a lot of people that's just like kind of overlooking it and excusing it and just not really addressing it face on. So we got to talk about how to deal with this, man. We can't just keep bashing people because they're probably victims themselves. That whole hurt people. So join us over there on YouTube Live. The link is in my bio. We about to switch over and start going in with that. So yeah, you can join the conversation over there. We got the chat going on. If you want to email questions or anything like that, you could do the same as well. But we about to stop this Instagram Live and go YouTube Live. Whenever y'all ready. Let's do it. The Art Learning Channel. That's a dope name for a channel. All right. Put this on real quick. So check it out. We got this conversation today. You're going to need your tea. You're going to need your lemon water. You're going to need your chlorophyll water. You're going to need something. Get something to sip on because you're going to need some swallows. I'm on that lemon water today.
I'm on the coffee with agave.
Yo, what's good? Instagram Live. We about to have this conversation. We just started over here. What's good, brother? Join us on the YouTube Live. I don't know if that's where you at. Yeah, come over to the YouTube Live. There's a link in the YouTube Live. A link in my bio for the YouTube Live. And that's where we're going to be having the whole conversation. Just a quick welcome and shout out to y'all to say, come through over here where we're going to be having this conversation about sexual predators. What are we going to do about it? Do we need to have retribution? Do we need to have rehabilitation? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Do we need to restore? All right, bro. I'll see you over there in a minute. Give thanks, Sankofa Tafari, for passing through for a minute. If you can come shout us over here, we about to have it. I see Crown Kitaba's in the building. I'm glad because I actually wanted to shout you out today anyway on the video. See, the universe be listening. So yeah, click the link in the bio, y'all, if y'all want to be, or I always get tripped up when I try to say it. Restorative justice. Retributive. Restoration. And join us at the YouTube, links in the bio. Share that. All right. So family, welcome to the Script Club presents
Climax Theater. I am your host, Akindake.
I'm also a host. My name is Joshua Sarah. Yeah, so we got a serious conversation today, which is what this whole platform is for, man, to get into some serious conversations.
Yeah.
And today, it was just timely to have to discuss this right here because of the what is that, docu-series?
I've been calling it a docu-series, yeah.
The docu-series has been going on. I'm going to tell you straight out the gate, I haven't watched any of them. I probably won't. I don't plan on really checking into that. I'm sensitive. I'm sensitive to what I take into my spirit. I'm an empath like a mug. So it's one thing, you know, I already know. It's like, do I need to take crack to know crack is bad?
And I watched it.
Good.
I watched the whole thing like 2 days ago. I binged and watched the full thing. I seen a lot of reviews online and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to jump in and go ahead and watch it. And
we can't do it.
I can understand what you mean about certain things entering your spirit because it was definitely a lot more than I expected. I didn't realize so much had happened. I didn't realize the degree of it, of all the things that he had done and how everything had transpired. So it was definitely interesting to watch.
Now, some of y'all is youngsters. I got that black don't crack melody. Y'all probably think I'm younger than I am, man. But I've been around the sun 40 times now. So I remember real clear when the little PP tape came out. I ain't watched that either.
I've never seen that.
I'm not the one, yo. I don't need to take this kind of stuff into my spirit. I know it's here. I don't need to necessarily see it to feel like let's do something about it. I ain't been listening to R. Kelly since then. What was that? That was 2002. I didn't even realize it was that long ago.
I didn't either.
Until like earlier today or yesterday. Yeah. So that's what, 17 years ago, a video came out of him peeing on, you know, having sex and then peeing on a little girl, like, she was 14, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
And he went to court about it. It was the time, for those who remember, that's when him and Jay-Z had an album out called Best of Both Worlds. And Jay-Z had even canceled that whole tour because of the controversy with that. But he got acquitted. He got off. And what I just saw something today that said the reason he got acquitted was not because they didn't say it was him. Like the jury was like, oh, that's your black ass, bro. But they said from the video, we can't tell how old this girl is. Even though they had mad people who showed up and were like, no, I know who that is. That's this little girl. You had people from the community. They had the community police officer, people from her school. Enough people came and testified. So this is the issue. Is that how we got all these people around who can say, yo, it's things happening. We need to do something about that.
Right.
And yeah, we keep letting people slide and get through, man. So we got to have a real strong kind of conversation about where do we go, man. Do we want to heal these people? Because clearly they're traumatized. They've been abused. They've been whatever, man. So hurt people. Yeah. Or do we need to just done these people? Do we dead them? Do we get them gone? Do we be like, yo, no more of you, man? Yeah. So that's the question. I'm putting that to y'all. I see it's people in the chat. What are y'all's opinion starting out the gate? Do you feel like we should do restorative justice, which is basically trying to heal the victim and the same thing. What do you call the person who does it? The predator, the herder, the hurt and the herder.
Yeah, they're the predator and the victim. They're a victim that becomes a predator.
So do we want to work on healing both parties? Do we want to work on having some attack mode? Like, you know, I know a lot of brothers get tight about certain things, you know what I mean? And, you know, I got a daughter. I got 2 sons. If anybody puts hands on my children, I ain't going to be talking about healing them. You know what I mean? That is not going to be my first impression. Oh, let me go heal this person that abused my child. That's not going to be my first inclination. I already know that. And I'm a holistic healer. I do massage, and I love it. But if somebody do something to my children, I'm not going to feel like healing them in that moment. So what y'all think, man? I'm going to look at your comments in a minute. What do you think?
I feel like they need to be quarantined from the community. There needs to be a place for healing. And let's jump back to slavery. We haven't healed from that. And because we haven't healed from that, it's like you were saying before, it's this generational thing of us not healing each other, it being taboo to acknowledge we need healing. Right. So because of that, there's so much. Whereas I feel like some of those people need to be completely removed from being able to interact with anyone else in our community, period. Because from watching the series, and you know, you hear so many women say that he used his trauma as a way to get me vulnerable, let him know about my trauma, and then use that trauma to later control me. So I feel like people like that don't need to be around anyone until they're at a real space where they feel healing. Some people just don't need to be around anyone else. You can create and be great and talented. That does not matter when you are destroying lives, when you are traumatizing people who are now going to become mothers, become fathers, become other people functioning in our community and interacting with others. It creates this cycle of sickness. So that's why I thought it was important to just open it up beyond R. Kelly.
Absolutely.
Because it's so much worse than just R. Kelly. R. Kelly is under a public, he's not the only person who's done this, who's doing it, who has been molested or sexually abused and became a predator themselves. That's a huge part of Black culture. Because I definitely dealt with brothers like that growing up.
That brothers like what?
I was, let's say,
it was like trying to.
Yeah, I was like about 11, and I developed early. I was probably like a C cup when I was 11, and I absolutely, I probably was.
Watch out.
I probably was, but you know, I developed young, and I absolutely remember having 24-year-olds trying to holler at me when I was 11, bro. Because I remember it was always this weird ass thing in our community. Like, you ask a guy, they ask you your age. Oh, I'm 12, I'm 13. How old are you? How old do you think I am? And it's like,
creep.
It actually became like, that's like a trigger of mine. I don't like when men tell me to guess their age.
Creepy
because when I was younger, men did that shit all the time. And you later find out these are grown-ass men. I was in school with women. I was in school with one young lady. In the 9th grade, she got pregnant by a 38-year-old. And she kept it. And he got arrested. When I was in 10th grade, I knew multiple girls who were dating guys in their 20s, from 25 to in their late 30s. And a lot of them just got abortions, but it was this thing whereas it was, girls felt like it was cool. It was cool to get attention from older guys.
That's a thing.
You know, you're told you're
that I think
more
is an
mature.
Issue too. I was just thinking that in my head like 30 seconds ago that I hear this. Girls are more mature, you know, girls mature quicker than boys. And I think that's part of the whole rapey culture that we in, man. This is a predator culture, like the Western culture. And because, like you said, you know, if you take it back into when Black people were seasoned by white people, which I want to call enslavement or colonization, but we got flavored to act and think like them. Then all of this behavior now, for example, it was so much incest on that damn plantation situation because this guy who has all of these Black people on his plantation and is raping everybody available at any age, including his own children once they're of age or not. And then we sitting here watching this happening, but ain't killing him for whatever fears that kept us in check, whatever ways they traumatized us into being okay with watching ourselves be traumatized and not acting on it. That is still where we are, is that we're at a place where we've been so traumatized by the people who originally brought this kind of lifestyle into our existence. And not to say this never happened before white people came around. I'm saying for it to be the culture. This is their culture. It's a predatory culture. I mean, take it to Greece, where, what's his name? Plato. Plato. And I know y'all have heard the name Plato because it's the foundation. Plato and Socrates. Plato said, there is no joy like knowing the love of a young boy. And if you look at all of their artwork and stuff, they always had men and boys together, butt ass naked. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. This is their culture. And so if you take that as their culture and bring it forward, and now we've been seasoned by them, it doesn't surprise me this is where we're at. But what does surprise me is that we're not at this point doing more to get out of their culture. Why? You know, I know largely because they made us value what they give as rewards, right? The money, the cars, the penthouse suite, vacations. We love to floss on Instagram about how well consumers we are. You know what I mean? How much money we spend to be great, right? But I'm saying in order to get that, it's balanced off with this other part of us turning a blind eye to all this bullshit that be happening, including the incest, including the sexual predator stuff. I had a sexual predator try to get at me when I was in high school. He was really trying to groom me for it. Like, he was a teacher. One of my teachers in high school was straight trying to groom me to get played like that. And, you know, my spidey sense been strong for a long time, but it was a teacher, you know what I mean? So and it was funny though, this teacher had been there long enough that he was, I'm spilling all the tea. So if y'all even know my life and who I'm talking about, yo, it is what it is, right? But this teacher was my mother's teacher as well. He had been teaching that long that he was a teacher when my mother went to the same high school. My mother's senior year was his first year teaching. Fresh out of college, so he's what, 22, 23?
Yeah.
And he's partying with the high school seniors and whatnot. You see what I'm saying? Because they're close-ish in age. And so 20-something years later, he's still trying to do that. You see what I'm saying? To where I don't even know if he understood how much of a predator he was or not. But I watched how he used to try to groom me and a couple other guys that I remember. And I used to remember seeing some guys coming back who had already graduated from high school, but would still come back around and hang out. And I used to always think it was weird. And then he started saying stuff that was like, wait a minute, bro. Why are you talking to us like that? Why are you talking to us about sex? Why are you talking to us about our man parts? Why are you trying to give us advice? We ain't asked you for that, bro. We didn't come to you for that. And I remember now, you know, we're going to talk about later how to identify some of the signs of a predator. But one of the things they try to do is like insert themselves in a way, in a trust way, right? So he used to try to approach me on some old, you know, he would be like a father to me. But thankfully, even though my father didn't live with me, I had a good enough bond with my father that I didn't feel like I needed to replace my father. I wasn't looking for a father figure. I was good. So him keep trying to insert him himself in that spot helped me feel like red flag. So I was able to keep a little distance. But I'm gonna tell you straight like this, you know, this dude, and this is how I knew, like, I can't ever fucks with you ever again. Because he was, like I said, he knew my mother. So my mother was comfortable with him. He used to drop us off after school sometime, me and some other students. He would take us to get McDonald's sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So he was being the nice guy, building up the trust. And one time this dude straight was like, you know, and I was the type of guy, you know, we could dap, we could hug and things like that. Not just with him, but men. I ain't never had that you can't hug men thing. And, you know, gave him a hug one day, and this dude straight went and kissed me on my neck, my G. And I was like, nigga, what?
Bruh.
Nigga, what though? And even
we both just sat back,
like even if you was my father, like my father wouldn't do that. So you can't even use that. That's that what's that Baby and Lil Wayne shit? Like, hey, fathers and sons don't kiss like that, bro. I ain't from the South.
Oh man.
And I know that's the thing that I keep seeing pop up in the South, man. I'm like, I ain't hating on none of y'all if you're from the South.
Not to mention that I actually read that Lil Wayne said that he was raped as well when he was younger.
Exactly.
It is a cycle.
So now let's talk about that. The fact that these guys are getting sexually abused as young guys. Yeah. What was that joint? Antoine Fisher?
Antoine Fisher. And I wanted to hit a point when you were talking about white people and us trying to equate certain things. White people do not set the bar for our morality. Can we get that clear? Can we just really, really, like, I get so aggravated. I get so pissed. There's no way you can be a black man, black woman walking the face of this earth, paying attention to their history, knowing their nature, and then as a grown-ass adult in 2019, still using them as the bar of morality when things happen.
Not even close.
That shit is so weird to me. Like, we know how we got here. We know why a lot of us are African Americans. And you still have the audacity to say, well, we should get away with certain things because white people got away. Motherfucker, this wasn't set up for us to win. Number one. Number two, that's the history and the nature of those people. And you know the history and nature of your people. Why would you want to get away with what they get away with? Why would you want it to be okay?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I keep
like
saying
that shit is sick to me.
Technology, man. I saw a brother that did a post, and I appreciate him saying it, because he said pro-righteousness before pro-blackness. Because we be so pro-black that sometimes we'll look over something and start saying, well, the white man always trying to bring the black man down. We don't know if it's true, but it's like, yo, get your righteousness first. Like, I don't care what your color is, man. I don't care what your color is. Like, I'm here on some God mission. And so if you violating God, I don't care if you black. If you violating my people, you violate.
Right. An enemy is an enemy. You think because somebody's famous black men and black women, because we're about to touch on black men dealing with black women being predators in our community as well. Just because somebody's black, just because somebody's famous, just because somebody's talented, just because somebody's ambitious, charismatic, someone make you laugh, that does not mean that they are above reproach. If they are a predator, then they are a problem in our community. It don't matter what the other side get away with. We should never, ever be looking to the same fucking people that we helped. What is that word I'm looking for? We taught them manners. We taught them how to clean. We taught them what morality was. They never had that before the Moors came into Europe. So we're not about to sit here and now say these people that we taught to have any kind of behavior and humanness in them are the same people that we're now going to ignore their nature and go, well, they got away with it. We want to get away with it. What the fuck are you talking about? Have you seen what they've done?
They have. But we used to it. Look, let me jump in these comments real quick and bring some of these up real quick, man. Just because the Art of Learning channel says the issue is multifold. Sexual trauma, number one. Sexual trauma across all gender, age, and sexuality line is a staple in our culture from both slavery and beyond. Fact. 2, both men and women are affected. Boom. Continue. And both male and female victimizers need to be addressed from both a punitive and rehabilitative standpoints. We coming. And number 3, another under-addressed issue is age of consent, because we're going to come to that in a minute. Oh, yeah. Age of consent, sexual activity is a cultural norm. In many tribal cultures, a 12 or 14-year-old girl may very well be considered of marrying age. Facts. Yeah. Now, there's a lot of women fighting that in other countries right now. See, that's the thing. Reading. That's a real thing. It's actually legal to rape as well in a lot of other countries. So it's so the question becomes, the mixing of cultures. America is such a mixture of different cultures, whereas, and then the fact that white people are the standard, and then you mix all these other cultures that, because America is a big ass melting pot. So you mix all that stuff in, pedophilia just goes right under the radar. Right. So that is legal in America. I don't know if y'all know that. Okay, so let's talk about black men dealing with black women being predators as well, because that's what we're about to touch on. All right. So, you know, you hear, I've heard a lot of guys talk about when they were young, how, you know, their first sexual encounter was with some older young woman or a woman, you know, whether it be somebody in the family, a babysitter, a mama's friend. I hear it a lot. Yeah, a lot. I've heard that a lot. And then what happens is these young men become over-sexualized. And I'm pretty sure lose some kind of respect for women also, or never generated. I don't know what that really looks like or how that goes. That didn't happen to me. And what's funny, there was a point at which I heard it so much that I started feeling like I was left out. Like, yo, why I ain't getting no old lady hollering at me? What kind of culture are we in where young men feel like they have been left out because they didn't get molested? You see what I'm saying? That's the cultural norm I'm talking about, is that it's a badge of honor when it comes to little boys. But then when we turn into little girls and it's like, oh, let's kill this man. But I can't say never, but I rarely ever hear people say, let's go kill this woman for having sex with a child that's a boy. I rarely ever hear that. I think it's like when boys, and it's weird, it's going to sound real sick, right? So when I see boys 10 and younger and older women are complimenting him and flirting with him, it's cute. Boom. And then when girls are early teens and they have older men hollering at them, not only do other men support it, don't say anything about it. And this is my experience from things I've seen and other sisters I know in my community. It's
we're seen as more mature because now certain parts of our frontal lobe is developing. So now we've matured faster than men. So then the way guys would explain it is, you could really talk to a guy 4 or 5 years older than you. You could really keep up.
Right.
It's actually bullshit.
Actually, whenever I would hear somebody, even if they were like 20, saying they was dating a 30-year-old, man, I would kind of be scratching my head. Like, first of all, my first thought would be, why is that dude that's 30 even interested in somebody that young? Like, she ain't on his level. Why would you? And then it hit me like, oh, because that's easy. Like, you can run game, you can get over, and they'll think they're being upgraded somehow. So you can even play
like
on that.
It's a compliment.
Right. And they know they can like get stuff out of this guy. Like a 30-year-old man is going to have more available resources than a 20-year-old man or 21, 22. So the woman starts looking at it like, oh, he takes me to his crib, he picks me up, he takes me out to dinner, and it starts feeling like you're having this whole grown folks think that you ain't grown, girl.
You know what? I'm going to say this. My dad, shout out to my Papa Bear.
Pops.
My dad told me probably when I was, maybe like, I'd say somewhere between 9 and 12 years old. That an older, because actually what happened was, I was coming home from Getty Square, Southside Yonkers. I was walking home and a guy who knew my dad had said something to me. And to me, it was harmless. And he said, oh, yeah, his daughter, right? And I'm like, yes. So I told my dad. My dad instantly got pissed. And he said, let me tell you something. You can't do nothing for no grown man.
Boom!
You can't do nothing for a man that's this age, and he can't do nothing for you. So if you interact, if you're out and about and a certain man hits an age, the first thing I want you to wonder is, what is it about women at his own age that he can't get right? That he's not interested in them because they have a certain level of freedom. They have a certain level of education. They have a certain financial status. They have a certain level of freedom that you don't have. So when you do have certain men interact with you, you have to wonder what's wrong with that man. And it's interesting. It gave me a low self-esteem when I was younger. It's weird. I had a low self-esteem because older men would try to talk to me so much, and it made me feel really bad about myself. I don't know if that's a thing for other women, but it started making me feel really bad about
older guys are trying to talk to you.
Yeah, it made me feel really, really bad about myself. Like, it made me, it made me feel like, what is it that they see that makes them want? Because my dad had already told me if certain men are coming for you, then they want a certain thing. So for me, it was more of like, I already know I was kind of nerdy looking. I already know I was super introverted, really quiet, really meek, but it made me feel even lower about myself because I felt like I was attracting like predators. Back then, I didn't call them predators. I just knew when older guys would talk to me, it didn't make me feel good about myself because my dad already set that standard of it's not a good thing. So when it kept happening, I was just be like, yo, like, what's wrong with me?
That's interesting.
Like,
yeah, I always thought it was creepy. Like, like I said, I've been around the sun 40 times. And I mean, like, for me, like 30 kind of seems too young for me. You know what I mean? Like, that's like a hell of a cutoff. Like, it's like, nah, that's young. Like, she don't quite understand. Like, that's like my cutoff. Like, you got to be one of those mature. So it's like, whenever I thought about guys doing that, it was always like, there's something wrong with you, bro. But I realize that's a weakness. It's like they realize that they're lacking something to talk to a woman that's of their age, that's mature, that's expecting a certain something. And younger women don't even know to expect certain things. That
you're not even there yet.
So you can slide up and just, what I'm trying to say, that I talk about this all the time, is the fantasy disease of the knight in shining armor situation. So if you're a 20-year-old woman, give or take 5 years, right? And you can't deal with a guy on your age level because he's still trying to get his shit together. He's still trying to get his place and his car and all that. And here comes some guy that's got a place, that's got a car, that can take you out as much as you want. The knight in shining armor shows up. But what I be trying to point out to people, and I just had this conversation, that go research knights. Them were some of the nastiest motherfuckers ever. But they had shiny ass armor and they had a nice horse. So a dude could put on a good suit, some clean clothes, show up in a clean fancy whip, and y'all be like, oh, save me. But knights, Like, for example, there was this custom, I think it was actually a law called First Night. I think they made a movie about it. First Night, where say a knight is just riding through the countryside and he happens to see in the village somebody is getting married. He can roll up on that wedding and be like, hey, who getting married? Boom. You know, first night I get to have sex with your wife tonight because it's that's the law. A knight can have sex with a new bride on the night of marriage. A knight can roll up and do that. Now, what kind of dude would even want to do that to another man's woman? And this is the guy who's supposed to be chivalrous. That's where all of this language comes from. That women, so y'all women want a man to be chivalrous and be a gentleman. But if you got to research these concepts, man, they're coming out of Europe. And if you getting these dudes, trust me, these are the creeps. They know the formula. They know to come up with a shining armor and they spinning rims on their horse and be like, hey, shorty, let me go take you to McDonald's real quick. And they're going to be like, Prince Charming? Okay, because these niggas ain't on my level yet. I'm a man more mature than them. You get me. I'm saying these guys know that women are attached to these fantasies and they roll up with it. So the regular guys who ain't got their shit together in that night way, try to come with some compassion, try to show you something, try to give you some love. Y'all be like, where your black card? Where your shining armor? Where your horse at? You can't take me out. What can you do for me? And it's like, God damn. And so the guys who be the knight in shining armor,
that's exactly how it
was.
Those
be the abusers. Those be the cheaters. So I'm saying these are the guys who usually, they look good on paper, but they be the ones beating their wives at home. They be the ones cheating on their wives. They be the ones who don't be there emotionally for their wives, but they paying all the bills. They keep your hair done, your nails done. So you got to be watching out for this culture, man. You got to watch out.
I'm going to take it a step further. At my school, in where I grew up, there's this guy. Everyone knows him. He grew up across the street from us. Most popular guy. No, he purposely keeps no facial hair. Ooh, we about to spill some tea. No facial hair. Lies about his age. Now, I only know because I grew up on the block with him, but not only did he hang out in front of the school and he sold drugs, so he'll get your nails done, he'll take you shopping, he'll get your hair done, and guess what else he would do? He would also turn you into a prostitute. He would have you
like legit.
No, he's legit known as like a pimp. If you know the tea of this guy from my neighborhood that I grew up in, he would not only gas girls' heads up and lie. He would tell girls, I remember my best friend in 10th grade was like, oh yeah, I met this guy. She shows me some flyer he gave her and he told her he's 19. I'm like, girl, he is the same age as my older sister. My older sister is 9 years older than me. Like, stop. He's grown. But he's been lying about his age for years. And he would, once he got a lot of girls, he then turned that into a prostitution ring. And that's my word. Yeah.
What about girls that lie about their age and say they're older? That happens a lot too. That happened to me since I've been in New York, actually.
That happens all the time.
It does, but how does that fit into this? Does that play a part?
Well, no, he was known for hanging out in front of the high school. So for me, it's kind of like regardless of
I'm not talking about him specifically. I get that.
But I think that that's a huge problem in the community as well. And it's this want to be treated more mature. And I can understand wanting to be treated older and things like that. But I feel that that's a conversation parents aren't having with their daughters. Because if you are saying that you're of a certain age, you're going to be treated like you're a certain age. And as if you have the certain freedom of a certain age.
True.
And you're going to be interacted with as if you're a certain age. And if parents aren't explaining, okay, these are some of the expectations you may incur while you're saying that you're this age, because when you are this age, you're doing these things, but you're also going to attract this kind of attention. Then I think that's where the parents drop the ball. I think that should just be the same thing as a birds and bee talk. Even if you don't think your daughter is fast or whatever, have the conversation anyway. Because I read so many things of people, you know, the comment section for this R. Kelly situation on social media. It's been so insane reading the comment section. A lot of people are like, you know, well, what about with girls? And I'm like, I get that. But that's where parents drop the ball. Because I expect children to lie. I expect teenagers to try to get over. That's not an abnormal thing. But what's abnormal is you knowing that it's something that commonly happens and you're not preparing your child for that mentally. You know?
That's real.
So I think that's where the issue comes in.
I don't know if people always know what's happening out here. You know what I'm saying? Like my mother, like I said, my mother was cool with this teacher of mine. She was thankful that there was a man taking interest in like looking out for the boys. You see what I'm saying? So if you got a bunch of single parents out here and then you got predators out here, like I said, the same way that a knight in shining armor dude knows how to spot his little Cinderella victim, certain predators know how to find a single parent, single mother, and be like, aha, I'm gonna slide in and be like, hey, let me take your son out, let me take your daughter out, and they be like, oh, thank you, I'm struggling. That helps. So it's like,
but that's what I'm saying. It should be a default conversation. That's what I'm saying. Just like you have a conversation with your child, whether they're interested in having sex or not, just the same way you add in talking about STDs, add in talking about how to interact with certain people, noticing certain characteristics. It's not something we teach our children, but it's something we should.
Right.
I learned certain characteristics in people just from going through school and human experience. But as parents, parents should take that initiative to say, okay, you're going to be functioning, you're going to be around this age group, blah, blah, blah. You're going to be out and about in the world. Be prepared for this, that, and the third.
Right. I'm about to pull something up real quick. I'll be publishing books, right? And I am currently working on a book about survivor of sexual abuse. And I will be finishing it next week. It's called SOS. Shout out to Rena. We finishing this book up this week. I wanted to bring up something because she's got all kind of stuff in here. Ways to identify a pedophile. So look, I'm just going to read this real quick. It's like a page. The Merriam-Webster's definition of pedophilia is a sexual perversion in which children are the preferred sexual object. This definition gives the person a title of pedophile and a category of sexual attraction. A pedophile is a predator that hunts after their prey, unlike any other animal hunter. They blend in, maneuver around, befriend or manipulate the parents of vulnerable youth, just like I was just saying, who are either trusting, unaware, have a hectic schedule, or easily distracted by other people or activities. You see what I'm saying? This may lead to them making their relationship or influencing the child to hide it with bribes, fear, or shame tactics. They hang out in spaces designated for vulnerable youth or adults. They often work or frequent spaces where vulnerable youth, adults, or unsuspecting victims frequent, like schools, youth centers, juvenile detention centers, shelters, police stations, hotels, churches, clubs, social centers, and or doctor's offices. They can be well known or barely noticed. Pedophiles have previous incidents of assault where the cases either were in other locations and they relocated with dropped charges, or were inconclusive and thrown out of court. They are invisible and elusive as their cases are not on the priority list on the docket unless there is a high-profile family, viral media exposure, or had deadly consequences. Oftentimes, they are family members or have close ties like extended family or community members, such as the longtime friends or neighbors. The relationships with their victim is often awkward. So there will be signs of unusual behavior of the victims in all cases. Victims often change habits, communication, and even personality after contact with predators. So check for that, y'all. And it has suggested discussion in there, like you were just saying. You should be discussed with the children. It has suggested discussions as well. So I'm gonna tell y'all to maybe check for that book. Is this thing still? Yeah, I'm gonna say, is that still on?
I think that's actually interesting. You said doctor's offices. I never even thought of that, but that is a really good way to find a vulnerable child.
I agree with you. My bro just said pedophile shouldn't even be the word. Pedo means child and phile means love. That's not love. Words have power, and it should be called child abuse, not child love. Fact. Yeah, that's real talk.
And I think we really need to dive in more on Black women that are sexual predators in our community.
Let's dive.
Because I know so many. I mean, as an adult, when you look at things in hindsight, then it's like, damn, it's really sad how many men I've met in my time that have said that they've had sex with a babysitter. It's always been a mom's friend, mom's friend's daughter, things like that. And it's sickening when you get older, and then I have nephews and I'm looking at them and I'm so protective of them. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine. I don't even want girls their age liking them. And they like 10. I'd be ready to fight 10-year-olds. Like, so to imagine grown women, and it is that thing of, oh, he's so cute, But we never stop to realize Black women aren't above reproach either.
I've heard Black women say like, oh, I'm gonna put that little boy on layaway.
Or do you need help getting school supplies? You know, you got a girlfriend. And, you know, for women, it's this cute thing, and it's seen as a way to give Black men confidence when they're younger. Like, oh, this older woman likes me. But I know Black women that have manipulated, took advantage. Personally, I know women that have taken advantage of boys who were way too young to understand a relationship, way too young, still learning themselves. And they're able to take out the fact that maybe older men have, let's say, mind fucked them in certain ways, left them bitter in certain ways. Maybe they felt they couldn't keep up. Maybe them themselves felt that they were mentally and emotionally stagnated, so they're able to prey on younger guys because younger guys feel like it's a step up, and it makes them even more eager to please. And for them, it's a confidence boost. I'm with someone older. And with women, now you have someone young that you can groom, because you know women always talk about grooming men as if they're animals, like they're pets. So it's like you get to groom him and make him be the kind of man you want him to be. And it's really sad, and it's very sickening. And that does create that cycle of men not having respect for women, men not having respect for themselves, men not knowing how to have healthy relationships. And because we're not, Black women, Black men, because we're not saying older women having an interest in younger Black men is an issue, we never stop to even identify maybe this is why he can't have the healthy relationship, because he was actually dealing with a sexual predator. And now it's all these things trickling down. Because we won't even acknowledge this is an issue, we're not realizing the unhealthy cycles that we're creating within Black men in our own community. Then we turn around and complain about certain things, but we're not even realizing that he was a victim as well.
Exactly. And that's a crucial thing, man. And that's why, you know, the question is, do we need to rehab people or be retributive? Now, I saw, where you say, One Ether Movement said there, wait. I saw something where he's like, we need to do these pervs like they do in the African village, beat, then banish them. So that's like retribution. We're going to smack them up and get out of here. But my thing is, it's a global planet. You know what I mean? We everywhere. It's our planet. Unless we going to put them in a spaceship and blast them out. Like,
right, we got to be realistic with how we handle each other.
Because I agree to an extent. Like, that's, like I said, I got children, so that's my feeling too. But like, beat, then banish, I'm more like beat to death. Like, I don't want to send you out with the chance to come back or do it to somebody somewhere else. So you said earlier, and I know that came from what we used to talk about back in the day about quarantine. Like me and bro Lanier used to talk about this all the time, is that, you can't just be putting people out and then expecting that's going to fix anything, because it's not. You know what I'm saying? Because at best, you've isolated yourself. Maybe you've created a little bubble, but that's not realistic, man. We got to stop being afraid to take over the world. This is our planet, man. We Earthiopians, man. We've been on every single continent before there was even any other people. So this is our planet. So to keep trying to get away from it, that's not the approach, man. This is our house. And I know we've been so fucking traumatized and beat down that we feel like, man, if I could just chill, I'd be all right with that. But I ain't with the chill no more, man. We got to, like, these is my heroes right here. You see these type folks right here? Sometimes we end up dead for it, but so what? We not a dying people. We can get rid of bodies all day, man. We spirit people. And that's what we got to return to, because once we get back to spirit people, they won't be able to keep dangling the body over us. Like, I give you some money, I give you some sex. I might not kill you if you do what I say. Man, fuck that. Kill me then. Don't let me have no sex. Don't let me have delicious food. As long as my spirit is good and my community is good, we gonna have everything we need. So we got to be on that mentality first and foremost, man. And if we not on that, then we gonna keep having these cycles, because it's easy when the flesh is who you are for the flesh to get out of control in one way or another, for you to get confused, for you to get inebriated, for you to get traumatized and then re-traumatize somebody else. That's all flesh stuff, man. So first and foremost, we got to think spiritually, because That's what I was gonna say a while back. Is who do we want to be? Like you said, we can't use white people as the standard. Hell no, we should never want them to be the standard. And my ancestors was not trying to get to be in the White House.
Right.
You know what I mean? Harriet Tubman wasn't trying to be getting my people out of there so we could be Barack Obama. Like, I understand why that was important for us, but that ain't who we trying to be. Freedom never meant integration. It never meant that for my people. It never meant that. And it still does not mean that for my people. It does not mean let me sit at your table with you. It means flip the table over and beat them out my goddamn temple with all that foolishness.
Right. It's like
Take
people think,
over.
oh, let's get along. And it's like, fuck getting along. Let's just start there. Fuck getting along.
Fuck getting along.
Let's rebuild. Let's destroy so we can rebuild, because this conversation is exactly why. Because we have these cycles that keep repeating themselves. Hurt people, hurting people, and hurting people, hurting people, because people are so afraid and people want to present themselves a certain way. So in our community, this conversation is taboo. We don't even talk about this.
See, my man.
Because a lot of men that I know that dealt with molestation, a lot of women, it was in their own families.
Exactly. And that's usually what it is.
And we don't talk about it.
That's that plantation life, man. And so, like my man is saying, we have to heal them. Energy never dies. It has to be changed. If we kill one, another 10 pop up. And I agree with that.
I agree.
So you got to be able to have some situation. There's a movie called Drop Squad that I think people should watch. It's a Spike Lee movie.
Oh, I'm late.
Ice Cube did a video similar to it, based on it. Be True to the Game. Essentially, they was kidnapping sellouts, sellout black people. It was a black squad of revolutionaries that would go drop squad somebody, would kidnap them, take them back to base, and then reprogram them, heal them back to health. And so that's the kind of thing that I think we need. Like aggressive love, you know what I mean? Like revolutionary love, man. So yeah, we got to snatch people up if they doing wrong, but then to then use our oppressor, I don't even like, they're not our oppressors, y'all. They can't nobody oppress us. To use our adversaries' techniques on our own people, that makes us oppressors. You see what I'm saying? That makes us our own adversary. And so if we want to get this forward and not keep having this cycle, then we have to break the cycle of hurt people hurting people. Right. We can't hurt people and think that's going to fix the situation. More hurt don't ever fix hurt. So yeah, it's super spiritually mature to say, let's see if we can heal people. It's not easy. The ego don't want to hear that shit. I sure the hell wouldn't want to hear it. If anybody put hands on my daughter, I don't want nobody to come talking to me about healing. Although I know that's what's really real. So that's a hard pill to swallow, man. I don't want to hear that shit personally, but I'm still the one that's sitting here advocating like, yo, that's what we got to do though. It's really real. And it's going to take a lot of maturity to get to that level and a lot of deciding who we want to be. Do we want to be these crackers or not? Do we want to be our ancestors growing into our spiritual beings or not?
I feel like some people, I will say this, I feel like some people are too stuck in their ways. I'm sorry for the damage that has been done to them, but some of them may be better off not here.
I feel you. Because
if you're your 40s, your 50s, I don't necessarily believe that I can help. I don't necessarily believe that you can be healed from certain types of sickness beyond a certain age, because people get stuck in their ways and they have been convinced and they have created these personalities in society that support and enable their behavior. So some people I just don't feel can be rehabilitated, and those people I'm okay with them being removed. I really am. I mean, yeah, it is what it is.
I'm a healer, and so I think always in terms of that. So it's like this, right? If you tie something around my arm and you cut off my circulation, then that arm will start to die slowly. And there's a point at which if you don't take that off, that part of the arm will have died. Right. And if you leave it on, then it'll start to poison the rest of the body. Right. So you have to amputate in order to save the body. But that's only if that part is already dead. Right. If it's still alive, then you could do something, right? So the trick is to be able to identify, do we have dead people amongst us or not? Are you a zombie? Are you a walking dead? Can we rehab you or not? If so, then I suggest we all take some time and look at Rwanda. I know it's a lot of people too young to even understand what I'm talking about, but Rwanda had this whole genocide situation. Some of y'all might have seen the movie Hotel Rwanda. But in a nutshell, the Hutus and the Tutsis was banging at each other because of European influence. Told them, you know, y'all better than them, right? You know, you should control everything. And then they flipped it on them like, hey, you know, they've been messing with y'all. They've been holding y'all down. Y'all should go kill them. It's more y'all than them. Go kill them. And so they was massacring tens of thousands of people a day. An hour, they was murdering thousands of people an hour. And so it created this huge, huge wound. They said there was a population of 8 million. 1 million people were killed. So we're talking about 1 in 8 people were killed in this genocide. 1 in 8 of the whole population, which means everybody's family got touched by that. Either in you did something or something was done to you. And so, you know, once it was all said and done, a lot of people was in prison, but the prisons were overpopulated because everybody had something to do with it. So they were trying to figure out, well, what can we do about this? And so they started coming up with these, what they call like grass courts, the gachacha courts. And it would be village courts where they would bring in the person who did the thing, and they would just have to stand there and listen to the people who they hurt. And, you know, well, first they would have to admit what they did. I killed, I did this, I raped, I murdered, whatever they did, and have to like say it all. They had to say what they did. And the whole village, the whole community would be there and listening, and then they get to respond to it, but not in violence. There would always be people there to make sure it didn't turn into a violent thing, but they would get to scream, cuss, call them out, call them names, do whatever they want. And of course that doesn't fix it immediately, but that starts to open up a space for healing, accountability. It starts to open up a space. And so that's called restorative justice, where you're trying to restore both parties, not just the victim. I hate using the word victim, but survivor, however you want to look at it, the person on the receiving end in that situation. You see what I'm saying? It's always a pendulum thing, and that's what we gotta take a bigger look and stop focusing on when the circumstance happens. We want to jump on that person without unfolding. How did you get there? You was a baby once. How did you get from baby that was just full of godlight to now you doing this to people? What happened to you? So that's the restorative mindset, is knowing that something occurred to that person first before they start doing that to somebody else. It's a hard, mature place to come from, but if we want to grow forward, if we want to come out of these cycles, we're going to have to start taking some mature looks at how to deal with this, and not just be reactionary all the time and angry to the point of violence and feeling like that's that. All right, as long as we killed him, we beat his ass. Trust me, if I see R. Kelly, I might smack him dead ass. Like, I got a list of people that's on site, yo. I got a list of people that I've been building for 20 years that's on site, and then I might have some restorative justice after that, but you know what I mean? But on site, they're gonna catch something. If I can't reach them, I'm throwing a spitball, something, yo. Like, I gotta get it off my chest, you know what I mean? So I get that part of needing to express your own, but what's the end game? That's what I'm asking. Do we want to heal or not? Just kill everybody.
You know what's interesting that I just thought of when you said that? It's like one extreme or the other. Either we say kill them all, or we say let's act like it didn't happen. And I really, you know, I try not to get hyped, but I be so frustrated when we fucking know these people in our communities are predators. We fucking know it. You hear your homie, you hear the way he talks, you know that shit ain't right, you still let him slide. Sis, you know that the way she's looking at this child ain't right, and we don't say anything. We know what predators look like, and they'll be our friends, they'll be our family, they'll be our co-workers, all these things, and we don't call it out. We have people in religious settings, in positions of power, entertainment, all these things, and we excuse it not only for embarrassment, because we don't want people to know our business and this individual mindset, but we feel that the other things that they so-called contribute overshadows it, so we don't acknowledge it at all. And I think that's a huge issue, and I think that's one of the biggest issues right now with R. Kelly and this fascination with a lot of men, because it's, you know, there's a whole Me Too movement going on now. So it's more than R. Kelly, it's more than Black men being predators. It's Black people in certain positions where they're charismatic, whereas they're entertaining, and they're able to distract you from the fact that they are actually toxic in our community.
Right.
And us being too proud to call them out, and us being too goddamn, we're so fucking bored that we'll tolerate the fact that you are actually causing trauma and poisoning and destroying lives because you're entertaining us. That's insanity.
That's really raggedy. You ever saw that Boondocks episode when they talked about the R. Kelly thing? Yeah. Yeah, it's like that, yo. It's really like that. Because I remember, like, I'm that dude for the past 17 years. If I'm riding in your car and R. Kelly comes on, I'm going to turn off your radio. I don't care. I walk out the club. I don't want to hear his music. And he's made some really great sounding music, but I dub it all. Like, I got into, like, Chicago swing stepping, and I couldn't even listen to the little song, The Step in the Name of Love. I would not ever dance to it. I wouldn't do it.
And it's great music.
Hell of a great song to dance to, but nah, bro, I don't want your energy on.
Guess what? Before Step in the Name of Love, it was AJ Nothing But a Number. And it is what it is. There are court records, and you know what I was thinking earlier, we were chatting about this. Black women have been hypersexualized so much in America, to the point where as our generations are being raised to not have sympathy, it's almost like we're naturally, it's this unspoken thing of raising our children to not have any kind of sympathy or respect for Black women. Black women are not born with this natural ability to process pain better than anyone else. And it's almost like this unspoken thing that everyone has programmed themselves to think that we somehow have this higher threshold for pain and disrespect and trauma, and we fucking don't. Everything that we are is for us to survive in this fucking country, just like Black men.
You know
yeah.
Black men and women do have a higher threshold for all that shit.
I don't think I feel that we're born and then we're conditioned.
But I
feel like in the sense of
our history shows that we can take it.
I'm right, but I feel like
we shouldn't have to.
But that's me saying I feel like we're conditioned into that.
We're conditioned into thinking we should.
Right. So it's like
we'll
be in a hospital and we'll be in more pain than the next person, but people will assume, and it's happening.
I've been in the hospital with Black women.
Oh yeah, like it'll take another woman go, and you know, Black women, we're proud, and we'll have a whole arm coming off, but we'll just sit there and, you know, try to be contained about it. And I think that it's this conditioning of we don't want to be an inconvenience, we don't want to be a nuisance, so we tolerate a lot more. And because of us doing that behavior, it's created this culture whereas when things happen to us, people think, well, it's a Black woman, so either she wanted it or she probably can handle it. It's never, okay, let's respond with the same level of intensity and compassion and empathy that we do when a white woman stubs her fucking toe. A white woman stubs her toe and it's, let's rush and help. And something happens to a Black woman and we're like, you know, she can handle it. You know what I mean? It's Black women.
Let me get some of these comments in here real quick, man. Yeah, it's all good. And Newt, if you lost some followers, man, exactly. Oh, well on them, man. Shout out to the Drop Squad. Let me see. Some can't be here. Where we at? Change. Tara Jackson. Shout out, Tara. Welcome to the conversation. She say you change environment, diet, and role models. Melanin is more powerful than sickness. Facts. When it is focused on renewal for us by us. Exactly. We are our own. We are our ancestors. We are on our ancestors. I'm not quite sure if I'm reading it right or not, but
I think it means we are our ancestors.
I think so too. But I just was looking at that like, I like taking it as it is. It's a new time, new generation. Things must inevitably change. Exactly. Break these generational curses. Exactly. We got to be the ones, man.
You are supposed to break the generational curse.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's why we keep coming back.
That ownership.
Yeah, man.
Stop waiting for somebody else to do it.
He said beat their ass first, then heal them. I'm with you on that one, Ether Movement. I'm with you on that. Some teachable moments in life. Our time is coming down to a close, man. Wait a minute. Because I meant to, there was a comment up here. Hold on. Because we asked the question and I thought, oh, it got retracted. Cable Wilson, you retracted your comment. I was going back to read it. So, all right, man. But I do agree. I do feel like, I think it's a combination. Like, you know, if you do something out of line, I don't like the word punishment, but I don't think God punishes you, right? I feel like the word we use is karma or ma'at. You know what I mean? Like I deal with ma'at. What you put out is what comes back. If I throw a cup into the air, I don't expect a bouquet of flowers to come back down. Right. The cup is coming back down. You know what I mean? So if you throwing shit up, you're going to get shit in your hair. You see what I'm saying? So we got to be careful on what we putting out. And we got to look at what people are putting out around us. And we got to start really like, we got to get gangster, y'all. We got to get on these brothers' level and the sisters' level that are their counterparts, to where, like, righteousness first. You know what I mean? The mission is above any and everybody. I don't care if you family. I don't care if you famous. I don't care if you rich. I don't care. I don't care. If you out of line, we checking your ass, man. That's got to be the mode. If we ain't on that, if we start letting anything happen and we going to just let it slide, because, I mean, like, and I like you said that one, eat the movement, and compassionate, because we got to be compassionate with dealing with people, but can't let it slide. We got to hold people accountable. We got to take people to task, man.
And not financially empower them. That's one thing we have to really, really understand. We can talk all day. We can talk shit all day about R. Kelly. We can talk about, who was it? They said Russell Simmons. There's so many different black men in the community, and women, you know, women, we have got to the point where women are being called out. But there are so many people in the community, and we will talk shit all day. We'll watch the documentary, but then y'all mother jumpers turn around and still financially empower this person. So we got to stop financially empowering these people as well, because what gives them their status and all this, especially in this country, is the fact that they still have money. Because as long as they have money, they're able to say, well, you don't really have a problem with it because I'm still debuting at #1. My movies are still making money. I'm still playing these sports. I'm still getting rings and things like that. So we have to stop financially empowering these people as well, as a way to also hold them accountable, because it's more than just having the conversation. It's, let's stop these people in their tracks, bring them down to level, let them know they're not above reproach simply because they have some type of status in society. Right. And then start with the healing.
So I'm gonna tell y'all, like, Google it. If you never heard of restorative justice, Google it. See what that's looking like. Go watch Drop Squad. See what that's looking like. Watch that video by Ice Cube, True to the Game. Start looking at ways that we can police ourselves, man. You know what I mean? If we take R. Kelly to court and then he just walk off, and then that's that, like, oh, well, he's acquitted, so step in the name of love now. That ain't the beat, man. Go look up what a gacaca, it is Gacaca, gacaca courts, the grass courts in Rwanda. We got to start studying ways that are our ways that is going to take us forward, because now we cannot be Europeans. You can't out-beast the beast. You can't out-beast the beast. You can't out-beast the beast. No! You can't do it, man. We got to be ourselves. You know what I'm saying? You really got to grab hold of our ancestors that's in us. Like, activate your DNA, get your spiritual technologies on point, and then we can intuit this shit. We be knowing and feeling this vibes all the time. You know the creepiness pop up on your skin, yo. Let your aura tell you, yo, something ain't right with this dude. Yo, this sister ain't right. And then see what you can do about that. Don't just sit there and say, I know something ain't right, so I'm just gonna look this way. I don't want to see it when it happens.
And raise your children. Raise your children. Really quick. Raise your kids.
Raise your babies.
That means beyond financially supporting them, mentally make sure that they're prepared for this society that you already know what it is.
You brought them.
It's your responsibility. It's not social media's responsibility. It's not the internet's responsibility. It's not the school's responsibility. It's not the church's responsibility. It is your responsibility to mentally, emotionally, financially, spiritually prepare your children to survive in this society. So default, even if you feel like your kids are around great people, still prepare them so that they're able to identify certain types of personality types so that they know what to stay away from. Thank goodness for my dad, because I encountered, so my dad has no idea how many men I encountered that were super perverts, super predators, especially growing up in the hood, because a lot of men, and also the community, what are those lists? Those lists, the community sexual list.
Sexual predator.
Yeah, the sexual predator list. I did that map in my neighborhood I grew up in the hood. And they were freaking everywhere. And they are functioning members of our community, of our society.
That's just the ones that's been like caught.
Noticed. Right. So know that these people are out there, and prepare your children so that they can at least be protected, so that they at least have the tools to feel safe to come to you if someone's making them feel unsafe. No one should have the power to have some type of hold over your child.
Right.
And I know that it's hard to do. I know it's a million things you do, especially if you're a single parent trying to focus on a million things at once. But the one thing you definitely need to focus on is making sure that when you're not around, your child is still protected. Because when you slip up, there are millions of people in the world waiting for people like parents to not pay attention. And they're going to swoop right in where that little hole and that little void is, and they're going to take advantage. So we got to protect our children. Yeah. We really do. Yeah. Our sons and our daughters.
And if you're not a predator and you don't have a child, you need to go partner up with some of these other parents so that they don't feel so left out and so lost and so desperate, such that a predator can take advantage. We need our community, man. We need our village. Yeah. So like, I got 3 babies, you know what I'm saying? And I've definitely felt the pressure of, man, I don't know what to do right now. I got to go to work. I don't want to leave my children like this. I don't want to. So help out those other parents that you know. Like, call up a parent, be like, yo, I got you this weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like, take a day off. I got you. And spend time with the parent and the children. Like, make it community, man. Like, build a real bond factor such that even if they don't feel like they could tell their parents somebody messing with them, maybe they could tell you. You see what I'm saying? Like, have a community. Have a community, y'all. That's the only way we're going to get it forward, man.
And start setting our own standards for morality and how to handle those who violate the people in our community. We can't keep acting like it's unseen, unheard. We're going to stop this taboo. We're going to start healing. We're going to start calling out the victims, the predators, the healers. We're going to start calling out all of it so that we can create a change. Because if we keep doing this stuff, this taboo, is crazy how long ago slavery ended. But we're still carrying on the same type of behavior.
When it ended?
Slavery ended.
No, it didn't.
Hold on. I got the quotes though.
Not even with the quotes. You got to take them off.
All right. In America,
it did not. It's
I mean, obviously, yeah, because we got the 13th Amendment,
right? So
right. In jail, but outside of it, I'm talking about mentally. I'm talking about spiritually. We're still enslaved in other ways. Whereas it's just because it's not in your face, a lot of that trauma is still functioning. It's still us, and like one of the people said in the chat, we are our ancestors. So a lot of those things are still within our spirit. Some of us are here again, and some of it hasn't been worked through. And we got to work through. We have to acknowledge it, or we're going to keep coming back. And I don't necessarily want to come back. I want to be chilling up with the grand ancestors and them. But until we get certain things right, we're going to keep recycling back into these vessels.
Facts.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Let me give a shout out to a business person real quick.
All right.
And she popped in. Her name is on here, Crown Kitaba. Go find her on Instagram, man. She is one of the dopest readers. So maybe you got some trauma you need to work through. Maybe you're trying to figure out something. Get with her, man. She's one of the dopest readers I ever come across. Like, everything she said was on point. Even the junk I didn't want to hear, and I was in denial. And then like 5 minutes later, it happened. I was like,
oh. She gave me a reading too.
So right.
Kitaba definitely gave me a reading, and I was like, dang.
Yeah.
She was so right. I was so like, I don't know if she gonna know my business. I got a reading. I was like, all right, let me do this reading or whatever. Let me see. And Kitaba started saying stuff, and I was like,
yo, like, hey girl, you been following me around?
Like, how did you? It was like some
who you working for? Like, nah, she working for the ancestors. Like, she's dope. So find her on Instagram, crowned with a K. Crowned Kitaba, Kitabah. Crowned with a K. Kitabah. She's dope. And we need our spiritual technologists because they're the ones who can help us see through all of this foolishness and not get confused and whatnot when people start manipulating and taking advantage. So yeah, support your local spiritual technologist, y'all.
Oh, I got a Black-owned business right here. Hold on, let me get close up in this thing. I wear this like every day as a reminder. And this is my Ma'at necklace I got from Ancient Aura Jewelry. Hey. You can find them on Instagram, Ancient Aura Jewelry.
Word that.
So shout out to them. They sponsored me, held it down. It's one of my favorite pieces.
Get you some protective pieces out
here. Yeah.
So yeah, family. So we'll be back next Sunday talking some more serious talks. I hope that y'all take some time and have conversations amongst yourself with your family, your children. If you had that trauma, go get somebody that you can talk to. You know, work through the trauma. Don't carry it around. More people have dealt with this than you would even imagine. Unless you watch that R. Kelly joint and found out everybody been molested by him, it sounds like. every little girl in Chicago. When I'm listening to y'all talk about it, that's why I want to watch it, man. It's too much. I'm an empath. I can't take it all in. I would not be functional for a week. So go have the conversations, y'all. Oh, true. Thank you, bro. You're right. I actually meant to shout that out. I'm glad you're on here. My man, I can't quite figure out how to say this, man. A new poo. It's really dope. Go find him. He's Flawless One on Instagram. He makes these real fly African socks, yo. They've got the Africa. I'll be rocking them joints. And he makes this really dope calendar. With the, what do you say? It's the real Zodiac, not the Nodiac, but the Zodiac. Like, it's the African concept of the Zodiac and the calendar. I've got one over there right now myself. So go check out our people, man. We got some dope spiritual technologists to help us get back on our standards, because that's what we're missing is our standards, man. So
trauma does not mean that you age faster. It just means that you dealt with trauma at your age and you still need healing. Don't allow anyone to convince you that because you had trauma at a certain age, it somehow sped up your age.
Right.
You're still the same age that you are. You just have a more awareness of the world in certain aspects of the world, because the world is still yin and yang at all times. You're just more aware of the yang than the yin. Doesn't change your age. Don't allow people to violate your boundaries because of it.
Yeah.
Or convince you you're on the same age level because of it. It's insanity.
Yeah. So, all right, y'all. Feel free to email us if you got questions, comments. If you got a topic you want to hear us bring up and have a conversation with the family, you can email it at climaxtheaterbk@gmail. That's
.com.
Yeah, climaxtheaterbk@gmail.com. If you want to find me online, I'm Earthiopian on most things. Earth, and then the rest is like Ethiopian. Earthiopian.
And I'm Ikandake, IKANDAKE. Ikandake.
So yeah, so holla at us, y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. I appreciate y'all in the comments, man. Appreciate y'all being a part of this. And I know y'all gonna go out here and help us change the world and keep making it a more beautiful place for us Ethiopian African people, man. So shout out to y'all. Enjoy the rest of the day. Peace. I don't know how to stop it. Where's the quit button? There we go. Boom. Peace, y'all.